How you going? Von Spriggan here. Hope you're having a good day, night, or whatever it may be for you in your particular part of the world. Alright, doing a bit of a song breakdown today, and in particular how I used a new synth called, or not a new synth, new for me-ish, called the Evolution Devastator Warzone. So I've been using this for a little bit. I got a free version of it, which is, link in the description. And I liked it a lot, and I kind of really like the other stuff the company does as well, Keep Forest plugins. So I emailed them, and I was like, hey, would you guys like to maybe give me some free stuff? Please? Because I like your stuff, and I'll do some reviews of it. And it was really awesome. I didn't for a million years actually think that they'd respond, but they did, and they liked the music and stuff, so I was like, yeah, here, have a copy. Today, we are just talking about the free one, though, so you can get it for free. The paid one is very, 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 very awesome, but the free one is very, very awesome too. So only two varies for the free one, but three very awesomes for the paid one. So whatever you use, it's all good. You can see this other thing here too, the Ferrum free edition modern trailer percussion. That's pretty sick too. So they've got a lot of cool free stuff, so check them out. I wouldn't work with this company if I didn't like them. I was already doing it, so I figured, why not? So, this new song is inspired. I watched The Matrix again with my wife a few weeks ago. This happened pretty quick, this song. And I was feeling really inspired by the soundtrack. I hadn't heard the soundtrack in ages, and I was like, you know what? I need to do some, like, stuff. I hadn't done anything like that before, and I really like that kind of breakbeat sort of stuff, like early White Zombie, early Rob Zombie, propeller heads, and that kind of electronic stuff. So this is pretty electronic-y song, and lo and behold, I had this cool synth to use. So we're going to go through. So let's just go from the start here. So the very first thing I'll show you is the intro. So the intro goes like this. And it's just this track here, all this audio. So that is a guitar and a synth as well. So I'll just solo the synth. So this is, you can kind of see it's like cut up bits and stuff like that. This is part of, I had an example here. This is called just tonal loops. So in this, there's just a heap of like weird loops and stuff. It's pretty cool. There's all sorts of some pretty cool noises. I think it was this bit that I used. So what I do with this is I just, I think it was this, yeah, that bit as well. So I just resampled all of these into audio, chopped out the bits that I really liked, and sort of created my own riff with it that ended up going really like to match the guitar riff. And I just wanted this, like you can see, it goes throughout the entire song pretty much. There's some different bits over here. Some more sort of tonal loops, they called. So there's heaps of stuff within this synth that it's just sort of like pre-made, and you don't have to fuck around with it too much. I'm not sure if I should be swearing, but sorry, I am. It's how I talk. So yeah, it saves me so much time. Like before I was using this synth, I would spend hours and hours and hours and hours making these kind of like loops and little weird sounds and stuff like that. So it's pretty awesome to have something at my disposal now that has like, those sounds kind of built in. Like instead of trying to get like house synths and like other nice synths to be not nice anymore, like with a million other plugins on top. So what I would do, I would put a spectrum analyzer on it, which is this thing here, and that way I could see what key it was in. So you see this big bump here, and I can see that this is in F, which is perfect because that's what my song's in. So it worked out really well. So that goes throughout the backbone of the whole song. So we'll play it into the main riff, and you can kind of see how that works. And then just a guitar up top. So yeah, pretty synth heavy this song. Like I said, very Matrixy inspired. The next bit that is kind of important is this lead. So again, this is just in the free synth. I think it's called Modern Lead 2, version 2. I didn't have to do much to it at all. It was really awesome. So let's just solo that. That's kind of the main part of it. So I just moved the sample across. So I like there's the way their synths work. They kind of have an audio part down the bottom here that you can see, and you can move this little bar. I got to remember not to save this because I'm going to fuck up the synth. But you can move that to where it starts to find the bit that you like, and then you've got effects that you can add to it. I didn't add any effects on this one, didn't need it, but I added this rhythm. So you can just use like you press the step sequencer button. So that's without the. But you can see the rhythm kind of keeps it like in that sort of pulsy bit. You can do filters and panning and pitch and a whole bunch of stuff. And then within this itself, like there's so many ways to like chop and change it, and like it's pretty cool, and it's pretty intuitive and quite easy. I'm not really like, I love synths and stuff, but I'm not some genius dude. Like I like writing songs, I don't like engineering songs, if that makes sense. So that's where I really like this synth, because a lot of it's already really good sounds. It kind of reminds me of guitar amps. Like sometimes you get a guitar amp and you just plug into the guitar amp and it sounds fucking sick straight away. And that's what you want. You don't want to sit there for like 3 hours tweaking stuff. It's like you want to be able to get into it and get your ideas out. So that's kind of why I like this. So then when that's in with the guitar and stuff, I'll show you guys the guitar. So it's a pretty simple riff. It's all about that beat, really. And then to support the guitar, I end up using a lot of basses for this one. So this is an 808 bass. If you don't have headphones on, you probably can't hear it. It's like really low in the sub frequencies. So that's just to give it like the kick. It's one of those sounds that you like kind of feel in your chest rather than like you hear it when it's not there, if that makes sense. And so that is just an 808 bass within Devastator as well. So there's heaps of stuff. Again, this is in the free one. Modern 808 bass 04 V1. I didn't have to do anything to this. It's just a solid, good sub sound. If you've ever tried to make sub sounds and stuff like that, it can get pretty difficult. Sometimes it takes up so much room in the mix, you can fuck it up so easily. So it's nice to have something that just kind of works, and it was like, sweet, done. Moving on. And that literally just follows the guitar riff, except it doesn't go to the higher parts, it just stays low. So then we back that up with more bass. But wait, there's more. We have another 808 bass in there to layer that up. So you can see it's kind of doing a different rhythm to the other one. It's following the guitar like way more closely. And yeah, that's just another, that's a modern 808 bass 04 V1. So if you want to make this yourself, go for it. I hate when people are like, oh, you can't know the things that I... It's like, yeah, you can know the things I use. Like, just because you know the colors that someone uses to paint a picture doesn't mean that you're going to get the same picture, you know. Make it your own. So that 808 bass again sits in with that layer to create that kind of like thump that hits in with the riffs, like boom, 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 and it gives it that thickness. So you know, if you're on your car stereo and stuff like that, or if you've got good headphones, it's like that just thump. And you need the thump. I think you need it. It's just essential. Otherwise, it doesn't sound heavy. Then we've got this one here. Again, you're probably quite hard to hear. This is, I might just turn this one up. Remember 14.5. So yeah, just again, this is just modern bass. I think it's the very first preset that comes up. Haven't added anything onto it. It just sounds good. It's just like a guitar tone. Like you don't have to fuck around with it heaps. It just sounds cool. And again, that just goes underneath to support the guitar and give it that way. I do have a bass guitar, but when I do really low tuning on my guitar, and when I get low tuning on the bass, the string is so floppy that all that kind of like tone and definition is often lost in the bass. And especially for fast stuff where you're like doom da boom da boom da boom da boom, you're like having that bleed and this sort of floppy bass is not what you want. You want it all tight and crispy, and you know, you just want it to hit. So those are kind of essential to my guitar tone. And I often get like, how do you get your guitar tone? It's like, a lot of it's synth. A lot of it's synth. There's a lot of guitar in there, obviously. The guitar is the main sort of crux of it all, but without those synths in there, it just kind of sounds a bit weak, you know? That's just good. Actually, we'll take this one out as well. So you can kind of hear, like, I think it sounds cool, and it should sound cool by itself. But it's that little fucking cherry on the top that just takes it from something that's kind of like whatever to something that makes me like kind of feel it a bit more. You don't want to push things up too high in the mix. If you want it to be obviously heavy synth mix, and go for it. But if you just want, like, I'm a metal person, I guess, so I like a lot of guitar in my shit. So I keep the guitar kind of high. All right, so moving on. So that basically, that synth will then just carry out throughout the whole song and just follows along. Follows along, lead drops off for when the vocals come in. We can go through all the vocals, but yeah, not much point for this one because all about the synth. Coming out of the burst, just gonna have a quick sip of coffee. And and then just straight up into that. It's quite a simple song, this one. So you can kind of see this lead synth like repeats itself a fair bit. It's kind of that main sort of, I don't know, just adds, I wouldn't call it the hook, but it just adds something to it. So this carries the main melody in the chorus. So a lot of my stuff, the guitar itself will be not much. It's more of a rhythm with the guitar. Like, I hate it, but it's more of a feeling. It's not about like playing and being like this virtuoso Olympic level guitar player. It's about what it makes you feel and the energy, and makes me kind of like feel matrixy. Feels like I'm the one. I want to fight some fucking machines and some programs and do kung fu and shit and fucking backflips over buildings. So yeah, that's why the synths are very important. To carry that melody and give you something. Sometimes I don't want any melody. Sometimes I just want it to be heavy, brutal rhythm. Almost like if Stone Age people were like bashing a drum around a fire, but also had access to guitars. Like, that's kind of the feeling I want to go for. Because music, you know, humans have been doing music since the dawn of time. So those rhythms and stuff are in bed. I like to think they're embedded in us, and there's a reason that we like them so much. So even this rhythm and drum beat is actually based off an old, I think it was a soul record called the Almond Break, and there was one part in it where it's like it's been sped up and sampled like a million times, and that's like where all that kind of drum and bass and stuff comes from. So even something like, it's quite an old beat. It was probably some dude like, I wish I knew the exact history of it. I'm pretty sure it was a soul song. But yeah, from ages ago, many years ago, and we still use it today. Like, so that goes into the next bit, and basically it just keeps following the basses keep following the guitar. Here I dropped it out a little bit, just because this 808 with this more like poundy one and the poundy on the drums, it was like kind of the bass was like getting a bit too much. So you've got to control your bass. The good thing as well, I find it's much easier to take stuff out than it is to add stuff in. So these basses are pretty huge already. Like, these are Devastator basses. They're all pretty massive. So it's much easier to just like notch a frequency out where it's getting a bit hummy or something like that, or it might be clashing with the kick drum or something like that, than it is to try and add heaps in, because you end up adding like artifacts and all this poop into it. And they just sound kind of cool. Like, that's such a cool noise. This, yeah, I'll turn it off again. So this sounds ominous and cool already. Like, I love it. It's pretty. Yeah, it's nice not to have to fuck around with these basses for ages. Just to give you an idea, this is another bass that I use, and you can see down here, I won't show you because it's all about the Devastator. Like, they gave me a free synth and stuff like that. So this is another free one that I use, but I've got to put it through a bunch of compression and then actually put it through like a neural DSP plugin, like a bass guitar plugin, just to kind of start getting anywhere near the tone that I want. And it's a bit of a mess around. It takes a while. So the other part that is cool about this synth, so here we come down to the, like, we sort of drop it back a bit. We're going to build it up and do a bit yell. I'll just show you this part actually. I like this part, it's pretty fucking heavy. Actually, there's no mastering on this either. Let's turn that up. Here we go, ready? Oh, God! Alright. You hear all those synths coming in and stuff like that, all the screeches and shit. So, within this synth, we have, again, this tonal loop part. So, similar to the other one, but it's just a different section of that taken out. I don't think I had to pitch this one down. Oh no, so you can see down here on Ableton, it has a thing where you can just like pitch it down. So this one, you want to make sure it's hitting in the same key. So you do that by using your spectrum analyzer as that comes up. See where that main frequency is hitting, and it looks like it's hitting about here. There we go, that sort of bump. I mean, it's not an exact science, it's just rough. And again, just trust your ears. If it sounds like shit, it sounds like shit. Don't use it. But yeah, so I just pitched that down so it like went into the song better. And then we come into here, we've got some weird screechy noises. So they've got a whole section within this synth. Where are we? There we go. Let's just delete this one out because it's just the example. So we'll go to the free edition. wild screams. So chuck that over there. A whole bunch of. No, sorry that. So each. Where are we? There we go. No, wrong one. This one. Yeah, weird screechy noises. So again, it's really nice to have all these weird screechy noises that you can manipulate afterwards yourself, because it can take ages to make those screechy noises. And I would use like reverb tails and weird. I'd be sitting on my guitar going like, blah! Like trying to like break it and do all sorts of crazy shit. But the Devastator Revolution Warzone. I feel like such a weirdo, like trying to sell this. I'm not really trying to sell it. It's just fucking cool. I've already told my friends about this before any like sponsored thing. I had a mate even message me like, "What are you using to get these kind of industrial sounds?" I was like, "Oh man, there's this free synth that I've been using. It's fucking sick. Makes it so much easier." So there's a whole bunch of those kind of like just screeches and wild noises. So I'll resample that into this, check that it's in the right key and stuff like that. All I did with this one is just add a bit of my own reverb. I could have done it on the synth, but I just like using this particular reverb. But the actual synth itself has heaps of reverb. And then you have heaps of these risers as well, which is really handy to have. So just rising throughout the whole thing. Again, you just got that basic sound there that you can then manipulate yourself, and it sounds good enough by itself as well. Again, I just added some reverb to this, and it didn't need much else from that. Like, there's no point overcomplicating it just because your ego says that you should put a whole bunch of shit on there. Which is kind of like when you become like a bit more into the engineering side of things, it can be kind of tempting. You're like, no, I've got to have 1,000 plugins. But it's also nice when you can just write music and focus on the writing and not so much on the engineering. So that's how this part works. I think this part is pretty much all Devastator, except for the drums, the hi-hats. It does have drums in there, but I just like the more natural hi-hat. So you can hear those kind of like noises and stuff like that. So going back to the screechy noises, putting some reverb and stuff. That sounds like it's got a little bit more on it. So I'll show you. That just sounds. I fucking love that. It's like it's so distorted and crazy. So that was just signals, leads, and distortions. And then I've added a couple delays on it. And I think I'm not sure if that was in the actual patch already, but you can add like all these different amps and like there's a whole bunch of different like effects and everything like that you then can control down here, and then you can add rhythm stuff into it. So it does become kind of, I wouldn't say it's endless, but there's a lot of like manipulations that you can do, which is really cool because you want to be able to make it your own. You want it to be like a good sound from the start, but you kind of want to make it your own as well. So that's those crazy synths that kind of sit in the background and just add like a nice atmosphere, I think. That weird one. So that's again just down here into those tonal loops, the wild screams and stuff like that. I just spent ages going through these sounds and just kind of get lost in it a little bit because there's heaps of weird cool stuff in there, and it saves me a lot of time because I'd spend hours and hours like making one little sound like that, and now I've got like 1,000 of those sounds at my fingertips. So it's pretty fucking cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That is the song. I won't go through the whole thing because you can hear it yourself. But that's how I use the Devastator Warzone. I'll bring it up again. I really like it. It's fun. It's good to muck around with, and it's just kind of nice. It's a synth that really feels like it's designed for destruction. I guess it's called Warzone for a reason. But it's cool. Like if you're a metal guy like me, or if you like making kind of like hard, like dark psy or I don't know, dubstep, if people still make dubstep. I don't mind dubstep. It's got some good stuff. It's become a dirty word though, hasn't it? But yeah, if you want any kind of distorted sounds, if you want to make some industrial stuff, if you're a metal guy that wants to like look at some synths to layer in with your guitars, it's a cool way to get like a different tone from your guitar as well, like where it's not the same. It kind of gives you that doom tone, like Mick Gordon. He's a huge, huge inspiration to me, if you can't tell. So this sort of stuff manages to get me there like really quick, and I don't have to fuck around too much because, like I said it 3 times already. But yeah, I want to write. I don't want to engineer. Engineering can be fun. Sometimes you're in the mood for it. It's like sometimes you're in the mood to clean your room and be organized. Most of the time, not. Most of the time, I just want to play guitar and like play with synths and make cool noises. So yeah, I highly recommend it. And yeah, it's free. So you got nothing to lose. Give it a download, see what you reckon. There is a paid version. I'll show you the paid version. You can see on the side here, this is just the playables. So when you get the free version, this is all that's available. But within this, there's heaps. Like you do have like playable basses and all that kind of stuff. Heaps of different noises. Like I said, everything on here was like used with the free version. But now that they were nice enough to give me the paid version, thanks Keep Forest. it's pretty fucking cool. Yeah, it starts getting crazy. So there's like all the hits and like there's pulses, and within each of these, like let's load up one of these playables, modern bass. I'll take that out. No, I don't want to save that. So then you come up here, and then you got basses, whole bunch of different ones, bass pluck, whole bunch of different ones, bass pulse, whole bunch of different ones. So you get a lot. Yeah, thanks again, Keep Forest, for sponsoring. I don't know if it's sponsored. They gave me a free synth. Like, I asked them, so yeah. I feel kind of weird. I'm not trying to sell you anything. It's just like, this is something that I use, and I think it's pretty cool. So I hope that if you use it, you think it's cool too, and you can get a smile out of it. Because in the end, that's what it's all about. It's like having fun, writing music, making some cool shit, and just getting that, when you get that riff or that loop or that synth or whatever, that just brings a smile to your face, and you kind of laugh because it's so ridiculously you're just like, that's fucking sick, let's go. That's that feeling you want. That's why we do this, isn't it? So hopefully this synth helps you get there. And once again, thanks to Keep Forest, I appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye. Thank you. See ya.